before I even started to go to Cambridge, I was already very much interested in chemistry. So it wasn't really a choice. I was just taking the chemistry courses plus other courses I liked. So there was cell biology, there was some material sciences, there was mathematics, and then slowly I specialized in the chemistry and biochemistry field. So it was quite a natural way to go towards what I was already interested in before I went to Cambridge. So well, I think for my own teaching style, it goes back to my own enthusiasm with chemistry in action, and also maybe it links back to my teachers in the UK. So I had very good teachers, and they would always teach chemistry, but also do the experiments to show what they mean by the chemistry they taught. So we had lots of experience or opportunities to look at teachers doing some chemistry experiments, and those really were fascinating for me, and that's why I really decided to go to the chemistry career. And that enthusiasm stayed with me, and I wanted to be maybe imitate some of his ability to enthusiasm, pass this enthusiasm and passion to the students, to make sure that they're not just learning chemistry, but also they will love chemistry or have a real interest in the subject. Firstly, I think it's important to stress that when we are doing chemistry experiments, we don't do it without training or knowledge. So an accident is not supposed to happen. It's not to be encouraged. So I remember there was a time when I was in the UK. I was at secondary school, maybe around one year before going to university. My teacher, she said, instead of me sitting there listening to her talking about things I already knew, I could do my own experiments. I was trying to do one thing. There was I'm collecting the elements, and one of the elements I didn't have was cobalt. And cobalt is a metal that it's quite similar to iron. And for iron, you could produce it with a reaction called a thermite reaction, which is by mixing iron oxide with aluminium powder. And the mixture is very flammable. You would light it with a magnesium ribbon, and the powder will slowly burn and give out a very high temperature, and you produce drops of molten iron. And for me, I tried to produce cobalt with the same method. I mixed cobalt oxide, aluminium powder, and I light with the magnesium, and they were having the class in front. I was at the back lighting this mixture, and suddenly I didn't know this mixture would actually go really explosive. So it would just ignite, and then suddenly, wow, flash, and then a bang, and then all blind, you can't see anything. And then the teacher was surprised. In the film couple, they saw the huge cloud of smoke went outside. The teachers in the next door in the mathematics block saw this flash and a cloud of poisonous smoke out of the lab. Well, I was there just laughing, and the teacher that you have to be very careful when you're doing something for the first time. Do it in small scale. So that was maybe for me quite an impressive and funny incident. Yeah. Yes, actually the nickname was given to me in the first episode I made with the TVB series Sidewalk Scientist, Hoshi Hofei. So at the time, the first appearance in the TV was my colleague, Dr. Emily Zheng, and she did some experiments with them, and then she introduced me to the producers and asked if I could help as well. And we did some demonstration with phosphorus, using phosphorus to show that white phosphorus is very flammable, and then you can also mix red phosphorus with potassium chloride, imitating the matches reaction. So put a hammer to that and it will get a bang. So my first episode was about phosphorus. And of course they have to, the way the Sidewalk Scientist program works is they try to make chemistry or other sciences interesting by packaging it in a funny story. So they will have build up a storyboard, and everything in the story is unrelated to the science. So at that time they set up a story, and I'm the bad guy, the Dr. Fire, who is the evil guy trying to challenge the actress, okay, Xi Beijing, and then I will send this challenge letter to them, say 挑戰, and they have to come up and see if they can beat me. Of course they fail every time. And the first time I would challenge them was to see if they could make some kind of fire or something. So that's why I was called Dr. Fire, because they say this guy is very good at making fires. So that's how the story came. And then after that, even though I wasn't doing the fiery stuff, they still call me Dr. Fire. It became a nickname that stuck to me, and then it seems to be quite well known, and then I like it. Yeah. It's very interesting because I try to find different ways to make the chemistry class more exciting. And sometimes I go to the bookshops and I find these books. Okay, this is a chemistry book, the elements periodic table, and each element is represented as a comic figure, and they also related to the chemistry of the elements. And of course, once I went to Japan for a trip, and then I also saw this book. This is Elements Girl, and the students get very excited because this is anime figures drawn in the form of different elements representing the elements. They find it very interesting. Now for me, I like watching anime, I have to say, to be honest. When I was in the UK, sometimes your students in the hall of residence, you might look at the animation as a form of entertainment when in your free time, and I enjoy doing that. One of the main reasons that I decided to appear on TV is that I wanted to have a chance to educate the public, because as a university lecturer, one of the responsibility I feel for myself, although not explicitly required, is to also spread the knowledge to the public. And if there are topics that I am interested in and I could say a little bit about or do some experiments to illustrate the concepts, I'm happy to do that. Another reason is because for Sidewalk Scientists, it is a program that is very much loved by the kids. It's a chance to also try to inspire some of the younger generation, to have them establish an interest in science. Hopefully they see some interesting reactions, some interesting chemistry, and then they might just ignite the enthusiasm in looking into this scientific world, and maybe they can become the future scientists. I always think to myself, if you're happy to pass a day, it's the same as being unhappy, and it's better to be happy because it's more productive. It's not productive to be unhappy and sad. So trying to find things that could draw a laugh or have a joke, or have a lightheartedness in your thinking. Of course, there are times when I also feel stressed and not so able to pull up a smile, but I hope at least in front of my students I can always be a happy person. The first one is those who are doing my course. Now my course is Common Core course, which means that most of my students will not be chemists at the end. Okay, they're experts in other fields, business or engineering or even other sciences. So advice for doing my course as a non-major chemist: you will have to, I think, have some interest in chemistry. So if you follow my lectures from start to end and try to follow my story, I try to build it up, and I always draw connections back to what we have said before. So try to build that connection will help them, even with those without any background. Now for those students who are major in chemistry, I think it's very important that you establish a good fundamental understanding since the first course. So don't take the general chemistry things as very easy and then forget about it after each year, because at the end of the day you will find that when you're doing your final year courses, you still need the knowledge from year 1, year 2 and year 3. It's very important to have understanding since day 1. If you don't understand something, please ask. Please look up in the books or look up in the internet, ask your classmates, ask your professors to make sure you understand. If you don't understand something, make sure you find a way to overcome that, and that will help you in the future. These are my elements collection. Okay, so a bit messy right now because after those project groups came, they have been looking at those, so it's now a bit messy. This is gold, for example. I do have gold. Don't come and steal them, please. Okay, and then I keep a book of my records on where I got the elements and where they were from, so the date and so on. So you can see some date even from 2004 to 2004. Hydrogen sample synthesized at home, zinc and HCl. Okay, so made by myself, but now it's replaced by a new sample. Okay, so I replace them sometimes. Yeah, so I keep a record of where I bought them and how much I bought them for and when I bought them. First of all, I had the things around me like copper and iron and aluminium and things like that, and then slowly you went and bought other things from eBay and chemical supplies and from the lab. So slowly I built up collections.